So in the last 18 to 24 months, I've been put through the ringer. I've made millions of dollars. I've lost millions of dollars. I've had investments work out really well, and I've had investments just knock me on my ass. I made one of my companies the most profitable it's ever been. I bought back a company that I sold 6 years ago for $15 million. I bought it back for under $1 million. I've been through these wins and these losses over the last 18 to 24 months, and I've had to cultivate a really optimistic, positive mindset in order to get through it and in order to give myself the space to grow through that, because there were times that I really wanted to shrink, times that I felt really beat up, times I felt like a failure. We all go through that stuff, and it's the mindsets that we practice through that determine whether or not we come out on the other side stronger or if we let it defeat us. So with that, I want to share with you some of the mindsets and the thought patterns that I've learned and have been practicing that have taken me now to a place where I feel more optimistic than ever. Now that I have that muscle built, I see opportunity everywhere. And when you get into one of those grooves, that's the game. And so I hope you find value in these lessons that I've learned over the last 18 to 24 months. So the first lesson I want to share with you is that you can train yourself into belief. You can train yourself into seeing opportunity. You can train yourself into optimism. You can train yourself to see evidence of your own success. So I decided to do a series where I contacted some of the entrepreneurs that I respect the most, who have built 8 or 9-figure companies that also did so by focusing on their mindset. Out of all the people that I spoke to, exactly 0 of them said that they never felt any doubt. One of the people I talked to, Trevor Blake, who's made hundreds of millions of dollars, he said, I feel doubt all the time. Doubt is constantly there, but I work at it. I am aware of my doubts, and I realize that they're not true if I don't give them any airtime. And I only give my attention to the thoughts that bring me towards success. Another person that I spoke to, Stacey Bayman, a few years ago, she was making a few $100,000, living a nice life, but she trained herself to believe that she could build an 8-figure company. And we talk about that process, about how she trained herself and the thoughts that she practiced in order to steer the ship of her mind towards success. And so I was left with this understanding that you can practice the mindset that you want. Oftentimes we think that we're destined to have a scarcity mindset, or to be crippled by fear or doubt, or we feel alone in the fact that we don't always believe that we're gonna be successful. But we can train that like a muscle, and you can cultivate the type of mindset that brings you to the 7-figure business, or the 8-figure business, or the 9-figure business, whatever you want. And just like it takes practice to get good at a sport, or to build a muscle, or to eat the right foods, your thoughts and your mindset are exactly the same. Your mindset is not permanent. It's changing all the time. And so if we are mindful of that, and if we are intentional around the thoughts that we practice, we can create the type of mindset and thought patterns that lead us closer to success. The second thing that I've learned is that it takes just as much work to cultivate $1 million mindset as it does to cultivate a $100 million mindset. One of the things that I picked up from these conversations, and just from my own experience, is that it takes just as much thought work or mindset work to cultivate that $10 million or $100 million mindset as convincing yourself that the $1 million is possible. For example, I still get a lot of pushback from people who don't believe that making $1 million in 12 months is possible, but I've seen it hundreds of times. But somebody who doesn't believe that has to do a significant amount of mindset work or seeing evidence of it being true in order to believe that they can make $1 million in 12 months. And then they can receive the information that's in my book, 12 months to 1 million. But that same person could spend that time and energy cultivating a $10 million mindset or a $100 million mindset. And the actions are very similar. You still need to create products, you still need to run advertising, you still need to create partnerships or hire people, cast a vision. But if you're gonna do it, you might as well go big. You might as well put yourself in a position where You're gonna force yourself to actively work on a mindset that takes you farther than you ever thought was possible. You're gonna get there anyway. You're gonna build it anyway. So why not prove to yourself that something incredible is possible? Now, in my own experience, I found that if I go too outside my belief, if I go too far out, then all this doubt creeps in and I actually have to work harder at the mindset stuff and it can hold me back. So I like to put my targets just outside of what I believe is possible so that very quickly I start to train myself to be further along than I thought, see evidence of it, and now there's momentum that is building towards that. So the idea of building a $100 million net worth in 7 years is just outside of what I thought was possible. But now as I work on the mindset and I work on the belief, I'm starting to see evidence of it. I'm starting to see the how show up everywhere. I'm starting to see the opportunities. And that is really exhilarating because I'm proving to myself that I can cultivate a mindset that I didn't think was possible before. And it's exciting to know that that's just the next step on a very long journey of entrepreneurship and creating wealth and success. And the third thing that I've learned recently is that you can make any business or any decision the right decision. You can make any partner the one. You can make any business the perfect business for you. Oftentimes, we look for the circumstances to match our expectations before we really get in alignment with that, before we really believe in it. We like to see the evidence before we believe, but something that I've learned from these conversations with successful entrepreneurs is that you can have the belief first. You can say, I believe that this business is a $100 million business, and then you can create the evidence. In the same way, you can believe that you're the perfect person for this project. You can believe that your partner is the one. You can choose your beliefs, and then you can find the evidence for them. My mentor, Travis, likes to say that all the important stuff happens after you make a decision anyway. So just make the decision and then start taking actions. And the actions will be in alignment with the decision that you made. But oftentimes we like to gather all this information to see what the right decision is. Well, you make it the right decision based on how you act after you make the decision. So if you're wrestling with different business ideas, the real way through it is to just pick one, because all the good stuff happens on the other side of that decision. So you make the business the one. A lot of people look at data in the marketplace or what somebody else is doing or what's worked for another business, and they say, see, it worked for them. That's what I should do. But that seems to stifle entrepreneurial creativity. Whereas if you say, this is my vision and this is my business, and I'm going to make this a $10 million business, I don't know how yet, but I'm gonna do it, and you're open to any route that can take you there, that's where I have found that the most creative momentum comes from, rather than looking at what everybody else is doing and then trying to model that. I spent so many years trying to figure out the how, trying to figure out the perfect way, trying to figure out what the best way to do something was, wanting the step-by-step formula. And actually, that desire has made me a really good teacher and instructor, because I'm able to speak in that way and give people permission to take the next steps. But the reality is that we only truly know the steps in the rearview mirror. Brooke Castillo said to me once, she asked, Ryan, did you know how you were gonna sell a company for $15 million? I was like, no. She says, when did you know it? I said, when it happened. And she said, exactly. Oftentimes we want the step-by-step playbook to something, but the real step-by-step is to make the decision and cultivate the belief, and then the path starts to show up. Throughout this series, you are going to hear from entrepreneurs who have built 8- and 9-figure companies, and you're gonna hear some of the same principles shared, but with different words and from different perspectives. And at the end of this series, we'll wrap this up with some of the most common perspectives and mindsets that were shared throughout this series from this group of entrepreneurs. And I hope that throughout this experience, you discover that this is the journey. We often think that we need to change our mindset to change our results, but the changing of the mindset, the person that you become, is truly the experience. And when you change that, then you change everything around you. A painful lesson that I've learned recently is that I am at the center of all the results in my life. I'm at the center of all the failures, of all the bad days, of all the failed relationships, of all the business losses. I'm the one at the center. And so if I change me, then I change all of those other things as well. That is truly the game that we're playing. That is real freedom. Becoming the person who is capable of having everything that you want, rather than waiting for everything that you want to give you the validation of who you are. And if that resonates with you, then you're really gonna resonate with the episode with Chris Duncan, who wrote one of the best books I've read in the last several years. That podcast is gonna blow you away. But this entire series is going to challenge you and change you. So make sure you are subscribed so that you don't miss it. And after you listen to this series, I hope you'll let me know what you thought in the comments or by shooting me an email at ryan@capitalism.com. Thanks so much for being a part of this community, and I can't wait for you to experience this series. I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I'm Ryan Danny Moran with capitalism.com. Thanks. I'll see you soon.